Now part 2, how to solve trigonometric equation. يعني it means I will give you cosine x equal to a value. You need to find which angle gives me this value. Here you need to focus that we are just working, يعني are not allowed to use other than those angles اللي هن pi over 2 أو pi over 3 و pi over 6 و pi over 4 وأكيد الزيرو يعني. اوكي و pi. ليه؟ لأنه مس نحن we will يعني use the formulas to get the angle. You are not allowed to use any other angle. How يعني? What does it mean? When I have cosine x equal to a number a, I need to write it first in the form of cosine x is equal to cosine alpha. يعني cosine of an angle. Okay? And then once I write cosine x equal to cosine alpha, I can compare x is equal, it will be alpha plus 2k pi. Why I do plus 2k pi? يعني أنا I can do one turn, two turns. k يعني how many turns? 3 turns, 4 turns. يعني فيني أعمل مثلا 2 turns and stop on 60, 3 turns and stop on 60. Or I can have x is equal minus alpha. ليه؟ لأنه alpha and minus alpha both they have the same cosine. يعني إذا عندي 60 و minus 60 both they have the same cosine. And you don't need to memorize too much stuff. What does it mean? I will give you an example. It's easy. If I will tell you find the value of x for example cosine x is equal to half. بيجي أنا بفكر which angle has cosine half. أنا دايما بفكر يا pi over 3 يا pi يعني I think about quadrant 1. If there was minus I don't look at the minus. هبعمل another one was minus. So which angle has cosine half? Which angle has cosine half? هو pi over 3. الباي over 3 اللي هو 60 هو الكوساين half. يعني بتصير cosine x is equal cosine pi over 3 and now I compare. يعني x is equal pi over 3 plus 2k pi. شو يعني plus 2k pi؟ يعني فيني أنا أعمل 1 turn 2 turn 3 turns 4 turns so many angles or فيها تكون minus pi over 3 لأنه كمان cosine minus pi over 3 it's half. So أنا ما بفكر أكتر بإنه أنا just remember the formula. I'll give you another example. يعني إذا كانت minus alpha شو بعمل؟ Okay, I'll give you another example. يعني if the given one cosine x is equal minus alpha, I don't look at minus. Which angle gives me cosine half? يعني عنا cosine x is equal to minus cosine pi over 3. Okay. Now هلا بدي امشي بالقلب guys. Cosine what gives me minus cosine alpha? يعني أنا know I want this one to write it cosine x is equal to cosine something. نحن we know cosine what gives me minus cosine alpha بالformulas هي cosine pi minus alpha. نحن بنعرف إنه cosine pi minus alpha okay gives me minus cosine alpha. يعني I will replace هيدي كأنه أنا عم بقول الإلبس هلا minus cosine alpha هي pi minus alpha. يعني cosine pi minus pi over 3 and نحن we know that cosine pi minus alpha it's minus cosine alpha. يعني أنا وقت بشوف minus cosine alpha بحط محلها pi minus alpha. Okay نحن cosine pi minus alpha it's minus cosine alpha and now يعني أنا عم بعمل هلا cosine x is equal cosine بعمل same denominator 3 pi over 3 minus pi over 3 and صرنا 2 pi over 3 and now I got the angles. شو طلعوا الangles؟ يعني x is equal 2 pi over 3 plus 2k pi or لأنه نحن cosine or x is equal minus 2 pi over 3 plus 2k pi. I'm not allowed to write directly the answer. يعني أنا بدي أشوف هيدي الstep is graded. يعني هون minus cosine pi over 3 and then هون عم بمشي بالقلب. So you need to have your formulas next to you. So cosine what gives me minus cosine alpha هي pi minus alpha. تكون تقولي طب يمس في another one gives me كمان a minus cosine pi plus alpha no problem. كمان you're gonna reach the same answer بس بيطلع لكم اياهم بالقلب the same but you're gonna have the same answer guys. Okay so دايما اشتغلوا like this when you have minus cosine alpha يعني أنا بعطيكم إياهم as a trick. sorry بس شوف minus cosine alpha بحط محلها cosine minus alpha. when I see sine minus alpha هلا I will see it بحط محلها sorry minus alpha بحط محلها sine minus alpha لأنه sine minus alpha it's minus sine alpha. okay هلا بنشوفهم later. Okay, now I will continue. Another one, the other part, هذا example. Now, if I'm doing now B, sine x is equal to A. كمان I need to make it sine x equal to sine alpha, or x will be equal alpha plus 2k pi or pi minus alpha plus 2k pi. Example, is عندي sine x equal to radical 3 over 2. Which angle gives me radical 3 over 2 as a sine? هي pi over 3. يعني sin x equal to sin pi over 3. يعني x is equal pi over 3 plus 2k pi or pi minus pi over 3 plus 2k pi. Same denominator, 2 pi over 3 plus 2k pi. So I will repeat again. يعني when I'm solving sin x equal to sin alpha هي alpha pi minus alpha plus 2k pi. If I'm solving sin x equal to cosine x equal to cosine alpha هي alpha plus 2k pi or minus alpha plus 2k pi. And if I'm solving tangent x equal to a, tangent x equal to tangent alpha هون بستعمل calculator to get the angle. So it's alpha plus k pi. التangent هي half a turn لأنه عندنا sine over cosine. And that's it. So every time I'm solving خلينا نعملكم small summary after before doing the exercise together. So every time I'm solving sine x is equal to sine of an angle alpha, this one will give me yeah x is equal alpha plus 2k pi or x is equal pi minus alpha plus 2k pi. If I'm solving cosine x is equal to cosine of alpha يعني x is equal alpha plus 2k pi or x is equal minus alpha plus 2k pi وبالتangent هي alpha plus k pi. اوكي هلا when I'm solving اذا انا وصلت على case for example يا الله blocked انا عندي مثلا cosine x is equal to minus cosine pi over 6. What I will do, which cosine what gives me minus cosine alpha دايما بحط محلها cosine pi minus pi over 6 لأنه هنا أنا عم بشتغل بالقلب. I'm going backward. يعني أنا I know that cosine pi minus alpha gives me minus cosine alpha. Okay. if I'm solving انتوا وصلتوا على case مثلا sine x is equal minus let's say sine pi over 2 هي بتصير sine minus pi over 2 لأن احنا بنعرف الفورمولا بالقلب sine minus alpha it's minus sine alpha. Now we know that. So sine minus alpha هي minus sine alpha. هلا كمان أكيد إذا أنا وصلت على case sine عطتني cosine I need to change it يعني هو اللي بدنا نعرف الفورمولا. If أنا I'm solving for example sine x is equal cosine pi over 2 ما فيني sine equal to sine هون I need to use the formula هي pi over 2 plus alpha أو pi over 2 minus alpha يعني pi over 2 يعني نحن we know that sine pi over 2 plus alpha gives me cosine يعني هون هيدا بدها تكون sine pi over 2 plus pi over 2 لأن نحن we know that إنه sine pi over 2 plus alpha gives me cosine alpha. Anyway, those things we're gonna see it in the application. هلا بهمني أهم شيء تبع الساين والكوساين. Sine equal sine alpha, cosine equal cosine alpha. And don't worry guys, if you feel lost with the application we will do many exercises, you will feel that it's easy.